So this story starts about 10 or 11 years ago. A young school kid who lacked confidence, who didn't have many social skills, was riddled with anxiety. Not that I knew what that was at the time, I just knew how it felt, and I didn't have many friends in school, and I never really knew where I was going in life, back when I was 15. And I was born into quite a poor family, so things weren't as easy as it could have been. And I just remember in school the feeling of never fitting in. I never fit in with any friend groups or boy groups, and I couldn't really understand why. It was quite a lonely time. But usually when people don't fit in, they try to. But even because I was quite an old head on young shoulders, I didn't even try. I still was on my own path. I didn't know what that path was at the time, but I went alone. I remember when I was doing PE, I was in set 2, which is basically where all the fat kids were, and the ones that didn't have much athletic ability. I didn't fit in with the more physically superior boys that got picked to do football, rugby. I was never really like that, and I used to get embarrassed about that, and that's another reason why I didn't have the confidence, and maybe why I didn't fit in also. And I was also a bit lost. I never knew what I wanted to do with my career going forward at that point. I never really enjoyed anything. I didn't get that sensation of I love doing this. But then suddenly everything changed. The day that I started lifting weights is the day that I changed my life, and I felt things that I hadn't felt before. The feeling of achieving something, the feeling of just getting that pump and having a good session, the feeling of the mental release it gave me back at that age. I fell in love with all those feelings, and I fell in love with lifting. And obviously I was completely new to it. There was a gym in Basildon, 2 gyms I went to. My first one was Gym for All, and then I moved to Eurofitness, which was a bit more of like old school style bodybuilding, which I really liked. And I just remember just enjoying my training. I remember walking out the door to Eurofitness after a session in the summer, the sun hits my skin, and I just felt good about myself. I started building that confidence. It might not have seen it on the outside. I was still quite introvert back then, but the confidence inside was slowly building, and I was building my character, and I was starting to fall in love with the process of improving and getting better in the gym. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was training arms 3 or 4 times a week, so I wasn't really following a plan. I was just kind of winging it, but all I knew is that I enjoyed the process. I was once a fat kid who actually starved himself for about 6 months because of the comments that I got throughout the period in school, and these didn't go away because then I started training to look better and feel better, and then those same people would say, oh, why are you now going to the gym? Why do you think you're big? Why are you training for this? And at the time, at that age, I think many boys would let that get them down, and I did, and it used to get me down. But there was something in me, something small, I don't know whether it was a voice, a thought, just in my head that was saying, just stick with it, it doesn't matter what they're saying, this will pay off. I wasn't thinking long term at that age, but I knew there was something great to come of it if I stayed consistent from that early on. So then at 16, I started to train with a couple of mates, and my best mate as well, and just naturally I started PTing them whilst I was training with them, showing them new stuff, helping them with this, and I got a sense of fulfillment from that, because prior to that I felt like I didn't have nothing to offer in those social situations or in friend groups. But when I was getting better at training myself in the gym, I then felt this ability to pass it on to someone else, and I really enjoyed teaching others and trying to give others knowledge whilst I was training, and it just come very naturally to me. And it was another thing that made me feel like I was actually getting somewhere in my life now, and I kind of just kept falling into the enjoyment of both sides of training myself and then also training other people. I then started PTing as my job for about 5 years in gyms, one-to-one training. This was kind of before the online training was around, because really, the online training has come on a lot since the pandemic. So all of it was one-to-one, and I did that from about 18 to 24. Was very successful at it, was very, very busy in the gym at 6 a.m, a gap because you have clients early in the morning and you have a gap in the day, clients in the evening. I was rammed, and I was obviously very happy about that. But I never really, stepped my foot on the gas for the real dream at hand. And I used to watch, back in those days, when at the time of me being 16, 17, 18, it was Guzman. Christian Guzman had that life. He was vlogging all of his YouTube videos. He had his own gym. He would train when he wants. He was surrounded by people who have the same goals as him, who didn't take the piss like the people in school did. He was around people who were on the same journey as him. He created that life, and that life, what I saw in those vlog videos, that's the life that I wanted to create. He was creating a brand. He was creating a whole gym for people to train at. And that then makes people feel good. You're bringing people into your brand, and you're inspiring others. And that, I felt, was the dream from day one. But the PT and being busy with PT was kind of like not even 5% of what I feel I could achieve globally. So that then come to an end, mainly because of the pandemic. This sounds weird to say, but I've always felt like from that early age, after finding weightlifting and seeing Guzman do his YouTube videos, I feel like there was some kind of, I don't know how you would explain it, that the way I explain it is it was a higher calling. I felt like I had this target to achieve, and it had come from nowhere. It was just deep within me obviously I was inspired by Guzman, but it's kind of like I found weightlifting. This made me feel so good. Then I saw Guzman helping so many other people and thought, I want to do that exact same thing. That's how I want to map out my life to be, and that's what I want to achieve in the end. And as I got older and older, I realised this was more of what was the end destination for me. Now, the end destination it could be ages and years, it could be 60, 70 years down the line. But I'm talking pre-having children as well, because there's a lot of dreams I want to achieve before I have kids. I want to set my own legacy up. So I feel like if I don't go out there and try and achieve that feeling that I can feel, or that higher calling that's saying to me, this is what you're meant to do. If I don't go and do that, then I've let myself down, and we've only got one life. I am definitely gonna do everything I can in my power to achieve what I feel is meant for me. We then come to the most pivotal time of my life. Probably one of the best things to ever happen to me now, but at the time it didn't seem like it. I fell into what seemed to be the darkest of deep depressions. I had a head full of thoughts that you wouldn't even wish on your worst enemy. This wasn't like the mild anxiety that I felt in school. This was razor sharp. This was the lowest of low that I could ever have imagined depression to be, because I don't think I had it prior to that. I may have had unhappy days, I think we all get that, but this was a deep, deep, dark depression, and it sucked me under very, very low. I would sleep mostly all day and think, I don't want to wake up tomorrow. That's how low I got. The only feeling that I really felt at that time was just numbness. Obviously my family were around me, they were so supportive, and they were honestly scared for me, but I just couldn't see out of that dark hole. I couldn't see the light for quite a long time. Like I said, I just felt numb. I just didn't feel good whatsoever. Essentially, I was just in what I call survival mode at that point. Nothing good. I was creating nothing good in my life, and everything was just crumbling down around me. That went on for about a period of about 4 or 5 months. And then all of a sudden, I remember I was actually crying heavily at the time. I was on the floor. I don't know why. I was upstairs and I was on the floor crying. That's all I can really remember of it. But I remember getting this, again, it was like my own voice in my head, because I thought that was my life done. I didn't think I could move on from here. How am I going to pull myself out of this? Even if I pull myself out of this, what's the point? I haven't got nothing good in front of me. But there was one voice inside my head that said the opposite, and said, you're here to do YouTube and talk about this and talk about training and recovering and help other people down the line. How can you give up now? You will let yourself down, you'll let your family down, you'll let everyone down. and you ultimately won't fulfill your destiny. That one glimmer of hope was the main thing that helped me pull myself out of that depression. And I can't believe it was such a small glimmer, but it was enough to help me start the new chapter in my life. Even during that darkest time of my life, the gym was there for me. You know, some days I would be in bed for 10 hours, but I trained 5 times a week prior to that depression, so that stayed there. I could barely get out of bed to do anything, but I could still get up, have a shower, put my headphones in, go to the gym. I didn't talk to anyone, as I'm very talkative. People who know me now, I'm very talkative. I'm very, could say, extrovert now, and I talk to everyone. I'm like my dad. But at that point, you'd be lucky to even get eye contact from me. But no matter how low I was still in that gym training, and training never left me. No matter what point in my life, no matter what was going on, no matter how I felt, I was in that gym training, because that's how passionate I am about it, and that's how much I love it, and that's how much it helped me through those dark times as well. No matter how low I was still in the gym. I didn't miss the gym. Finding out family relatives have got bad illnesses, I was still in the gym. I didn't miss a session. Working 2 jobs, having to train at 4:30 in the morning or 11 at night, I didn't miss the gym. There is nothing in this life that could stop me from continuing to do my passion. That's how obsessed I am with this game. And it's not hard. I don't find it hard to be obsessed about it, because that's how good it makes me feel. And it's always been like that since day one, and it's just grown and grown. And I'm thankful for that, because that does give me purpose in life. And people may call that crazy. Well, if you want to be absolutely fantastic at something and you want to be elite level, you have to be obsessed. You have to love being obsessed with it. So I feel like I'm here to share these stories, because I know there's a lot of people out there who suffer with mental health, and I don't just want to make this video about mental health. I want to make it about a lot of things, but I just want people to know that if you're going through a dark time, there's always a way through. My job here now is to create that brand or legacy that I spoke about, Guzman building. This is the new chapter that I'm starting to build that and leave a legacy behind for my kids and grandkids in years and years to come. It's weird, post-depression, pre-lockdown, this is where my life started. This is where everything that I'm meant to do, I finally got the confidence to do so. I feel like that dark stage was the ignition to the fire of building this dream that I've always meant to do. Because like I said, I didn't have my foot on the gas prior to that. So I'm thankful for those low times, because now I am happy and I'm at peace, even though I'm not where I want to be, and I haven't even started getting anywhere close to achieving anywhere close to what I know I will achieve and build. And I want to build that so it does help other people. It's not from an ego perspective or a validation perspective. I want to do it to help others. So I finally started YouTube after that period, and I also hired a coach. So now I have Andy and Callum with me, who are the 2 best at their endeavours, helping me to achieve my goals, which I'm very thankful for. And we're going to get to the top as a group and as a team. So me and Callum decided to do a show, and it didn't go ahead last year, and I'm so happy that it didn't, because we were going to be very rushed. This year we have 3 shows on the horizon, and the first dance will be at the end of August, which I'm very, very excited for. They keep saying, you've never walked the walk, and whilst I agree, I've never done a show, I have walked the walk every fucking day of my life since I started lifting, and I never fell off during periods of adversity and during times where a lot would crumble. I pushed through and I never fell off, and I never will fall off, because this is what I'm meant to do. And these shows that we do in August and September of 2022, they will change everything going forward for my career, for my whole future. So I say this with no ego, I just say this with purity and strong intent. They do not know my name yet, but soon, trust me on this one thing, they will know.